What's up, girl? So today is going to be a little different. I told you guys I'm going to try to do this content thing, try to throw out these different videos and see how you guys love it. So today we're going to talk about the time that I caught Uriah cheating on me. And y'all know she's a little crazy. So this is the tea. Okay, so whew, girl. Okay, so where do I even start? There's a lot. It's a lot that went on when Uriah was in Afghanistan. It's a lot that went on when he got back from Afghanistan, y'all. It's just a lot that happened. We grew up and we were apart for a whole year, so things in different on either side happened. We didn't have any children. We were newly married. Like, we had been married and lived together for about 7 to 8 months, and then he was shipped off to another country. So yeah, we had been together like 4 years, but you know, get the gist of it. We had just started living together by ourselves in our own house, and it was just like So this is going to be about this girl that I ended up staying with later on, if that makes sense. But I have to tell that story a whole nother time. But this story is going to be based off of that specific girl that I lived with, so we're gonna say roommate, and what happened when I first met her. So let's get into the story. I was in Texas, and I moved to Texas with Uriah's sister, who got stationed in Texas from here in Ohio. So we moved with her. We were gonna stay here, and he was gonna go to school and do his senior year here in Ohio, but we just decided to go with her because we had never been on our own, and it was just gonna be like, I was gonna be working, he was gonna be in school, and it was gonna be too much. So we moved with her, and we ended up still living with her, and he said he wanted to, you know, go into the military, and that was the plan. We were gonna get married, blah, 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 blah. He ended up going to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fayetteville, okay, the Ville, if you hear J. Cole songs about it. No, y'all, it's not even really the hood for real. I be giving J. Cole the side eye, like, when did that happen, where? But that's neither here nor there. So we went to Fort Bragg. We were newly married. We had been married for some months. We had just got married, and then he was there. So we got married in December, and he ended up going to his duty station in January, I believe, January-ish. And then I ended up coming to him in like February, March, I think. So he was up there for like a month and a half by himself without me being there, and he ended up making friends and stuff like that. So there was this guy that he befriended, and him and his wife were going through a similar situation, and she was in Chicago. Roommate was in Chicago, and they had a little boy. They moved from Chicago up to Fort Bragg, but I had already been there already, and Uriah was still friends with the guy and still hung out with him, and you know, went to clubs with him, whatever. So when roommate came with her baby, of course naturally the boys are going to try to introduce us and stuff, you know, whatever. So she was literally like the first army wife I ever met, and she was a new army wife and I was a new army wife. So we like clicked because we weren't really, you know, into the army wife life. And I still, like, to this day, when he was still in, I really didn't vibe with certain army wives. You had to be a specific type of army wife for me to vibe with you, which means you have to be you have to have your own identity and be your own person. Like, if you're just army and you're not in the army, like, as a spouse you can be supportive, but to have your own identity, like, you know, I did makeup, get myself up, I would like to go out, I like to get my nails done, I like to go to clubs, like I go to gay clubs, I go anywhere, I just like to have fun, and we had fun as a couple. So if you didn't do that and you just literally stayed at home and you're like, oh, you know, my husband's rank is this and I blah 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 blah, I didn't F with you, okay? I stayed to myself, and I had my own little group of friends, and usually the friends that I have would be from big cities. So like I said, she was from Chicago, I was from Philly, and majority of every friend that you guys have ever seen on my channel is from a big city, because that's the type of girl I vibe with. So long story short, me, her, and her cousin ended up coming up and staying with them for a little bit, and we went to the grocery store. Now I think we had known each other for about 2 months, but we ended up going to the club together like for the first time the past weekend before we went to the grocery store together, and kind of like got a real good feel for each other, and we was like, oh yeah girl, like I like you. So we went to the grocery store together. She was like, I just really want to be real with you. At first I didn't like you, I didn't know you, so I really didn't, you know, whatever, but I was kind of like iffy about you just by your looks. And I'm like, dang, like, do I have resting bitch face? Like, do I look like girl stuck up? Like, I don't know, like, dang. She was like, but then when I got to know you, I really enjoyed your company and I love you. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Thinking like, oh, we bonding, you know. She's just telling me like it is. And she's like, but I have some tea to tell you. And I'm like, we in a grocery store, mind you. I'm pushing the cart with her little boy on it, and she's like next to me and her cousin's next to me, and she's like, I just have something to tell you. I just really need to get this off my chest and we'll be, you know, straight. And I'm like, look my face, because mind you, like I said, she had just met me, so we, you know, vibes or whatever, but that Philly like it came up forward. I was like, oh word, what do you like? The antennas came up and I was like, girl, what are you about to tell me? It was like, you know how you were in Texas and I was in Chicago, and the boys would go out and you know hang out, go to strip club, you know, go to clubs, woo woo, whatever, like they do what they do, you know, whatever. And I'm like, and because I already knew what was about to be said, okay? So she's like, well, my husband told me that your husband was talking to some bartender at the strip club, and he had girls in his car, and he had went over to the bartender's house supposedly. Mind you, she's like, she had all the tea. She was like, the bartender was married, but they were separated, and she had her own house, and he was saying that he was going over there and seeing her or whatever. So she's like, oh, I'm so glad that I could get that off my chest, because my husband told me, but I didn't know you enough to tell you. And I was just like, you know, I don't know this girl. I don't know if I like this girl yet. I don't know if I should tell her, you know, what her man's up to, blah, 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 blah. I'm just quiet. So at this point, she knows me well enough to know that I'm not quiet. All y'all know me well enough to know that I'm not quiet. So she's like, you know, I got that off my chest. She's all huffing and stuff, and she's like, yay. So she's trying to like go back to normal and go back to shopping, and I'm just really quiet. And she's like, girl, are you okay? And I'm sitting here like, no, I'm not. I need you to take me home now. And she was like, you need me like right now? Like, I have groceries in the, I need you to take me home right now. What time is it? Yeah, he just got off work. I need you to take me home right now. He was just looking at me like, okay. So she put her stuff back. We all piled into her car, and she drove me home. Still quiet. Still quiet. I didn't say anything. I didn't text Uriah. I didn't call Uriah. The only thing I did on my phone was track Uriah, and I was like, yes ma'am, he is home. So I'm really gonna need you to put your foot on that pedal and get me there pronto, ASAP. Run all the red lights, girl. I'll pay all the tickets. Run all the red lights, because I'm gonna kill a nigga today. Like, at this point, she's kind of freaking out, because she's like, oh god, like what is about to happen? So I go, and we lived in this like apartment complex, and we lived on the 3rd floor. So when we drove, I seen his car. At this point, we had a Scion TC, and he ended up, just like how he just did that to the rims, he gets paint and sandpaper and seals it off. I don't know, he does it some type of cheap way where it's like $20 to do these things to his rims. He did the same thing to his TC, and he had all white rims. It was a really cute car. It was a 2-door car, really cute. It wasn't something that he really wanted, but we needed a car at the time, so he got it, and then he just kind of tricked it out. So he was in a car club and everything, y'all. It was serious, like Scion TC car club. I get there, I see the car, I'm like, okay, cool. So she drives up to the front, like where my buildings are, and she's like, do you want me to wait for you? And I was like, yeah. So she stopped, and then I got out. Like, I felt like I got out while the car was still going. Y'all, like, y'all don't understand. Like, when I get mad, it's like I get quiet, and then a blank, like it's like a darkness comes over me. I'm so sweet, so lovable until you cross me. When you cross me, all things go left, like, quickly. And that's the kind of mode I was in. I was in kill mode, like I was in fight mode. So get out, go upstairs. I had my key, but I didn't use my key. I knocked on the door, and I think I moved to the side so that he couldn't look through the peephole and see me and be like why didn't she open the, like, you know, whatever. So I knocked on the door. He's like, who is it? Didn't say anything, just kept knocking on the door. So he ended up opening the door, punched him dead in his face. Listen, Linda, pause. I don't condone domestic violence, but when a nigga try you, okay, when your man, your husband, the person who says I do, if you hear some about him, I don't care what it is, girl, I don't care. I condone everything. I condone whooping him with a belt. I condone putting down some oil while he's in the bathtub so he can get out of the bathtub and slip and fall. I condone breaking limbs. I condone stabbing him up. I condone setting them on fire. I condone everything. You better stop, drop, and roll. That's why we learned that in school, for these purposes. When he opened the door after I hit him, he was like, what are you doing? And at that point, I was full blown fighting him. Like, he wasn't fighting me, but I was full blown fighting him, like blows to his chest and stuff, because I'm short and Uriah is like 6 foot and I'm 5'3". So I had to jump up to punch him. And then after that, he's, you know, on guard, so he's like this, like, stop, what are you doing? And so I'm punching him in his chest, punching him all over his body, screaming, yelling. Like, people were coming out of the apartment complex area, like, to see what was going on, because our balcony door was open, kind of like the screen door was closed, but the door was open. So she said she heard everything downstairs. Like, she heard screaming, yelling, cussing. I was flipping out. Like, we had a 1-bedroom apartment, and I tore that 1-bedroom apartment up. Like, I was breathing hard. Like, I had literally gotten in a fight, like sweating, breathing hard. He was asking me what he did, like, what is wrong with you? And I couldn't answer because I was breathing so hard, hyperventilating. Like, I was really at that point crying. Like, he was looking at me like, he's never seen me like that. So he was looking at me like, this girl's crazy. Like, I married a crazy Gemini. Like, after I felt like I got enough licks in, I went to the bedroom and I got a big suitcase, and I just was stuffing all my shit in that suitcase. Like, I was like, peace, I'm out, I'm done with you, I can't believe you did this to me. He's like, what did I do? Packed all my stuff. Then I zipped it up, and at that point I was like, you cheated on me. And he was like, what? And I'm like, you cheated on me? You told roommate's husband that you were messing with the bartender at the strip club, and, you know, and all this stuff, and then you had girls in our car, and blah blah blah. And I just like flipped out, like yelling. I don't care. I don't even know at that point what he said. I really don't know what all I said, because I know I just saw red. It was just a wrap for me. So my camera died, and I'm just gonna end the story here. So he's yelling at this point like, I didn't cheat on you. Like, oh my god, like, he's freaking out, like, don't leave. He told me I couldn't leave, right? Because I had already packed all my stuff, and I took my bag and I went to the front, and I was like throwing my stuff at the front door and like putting it right there, whatever, because I'm like, I'm leaving, I'm just getting my stuff together, like, because I'm not coming back. Like, you crossed the line, and that's one line you're not gonna cross, and I'm not coming back. But he's standing by the door, and y'all know, like I say, 6 foot bigger man, muscle bound, standing by the door, like, you're not going anywhere. Because we only had one door. We didn't have we had a balcony, and we only had 1 bedroom, and it was just me and him. Well, I don't even think we had a dog at this point. Like, it was just literally me and him, and I was like, deuces player. So I'm like, move. I'm trying to push him, I'm punching him, I'm doing everything I can to try to move him from the front door, because I was so serious about leaving. And he wouldn't leave, he wouldn't move. He was like, you're just not gonna go nowhere. You need to calm down, we're gonna talk about this, and then you can leave if you want to leave, but you're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. So I took all of my stuff, y'all, opened the balcony door. You already know where I'm going with this, sis. Threw it all over the balcony. I didn't care what was in there. At that point, I was so mad he wouldn't let me out their door. I threw all my stuff over the balcony. and I told her to get out the car and come help me pick it up, or at least catch it, because I had to throw my makeup, I had to throw all types of stuff over the balcony. So I was telling her, like, could you catch it? She was trying to catch it and grab my stuff and put it into the car, and she was sitting there like, are you serious? Like, as she was trying to catch it, because like I said, I'm on the 3rd floor and she on the bottom floor. She like, for real? And I'm like, for real, and throwing all my stuff out. Like, girl, don't question me at this point. So she's putting all the stuff into the car, and then I ended up trying to go, like, I went back in and I was like, okay, my stuff's downstairs, I'm leaving, move from in front of the door, and he would not move. So I went to the balcony and was like literally about to jump off the balcony. Like, I had put my legs over the balcony. I was gonna jump to the 2nd balcony underneath ours to the bottom floor, because like there was like our balcony, their balcony, and then the floor. So I was gonna basically monkey jump it down, and I was out. Like, I was so serious. Just go out the front door, you're not about to hurt yourself. So I was like, good. And then I pushed past him and went out the front door, and I left, and he went downstairs. He was following us, and he's standing there like, stop, like, what are you doing? And he like got all teary-eyed and stuff. And at that point I was just like so broken down. Like, when I got in the car, because she had already put my stuff in the trunk, so when I got in the car I just broke down crying, and she's just sitting there like I said, we had just met. She's just sitting there like, her cousin's like, the baby's in the car seat. Like, it was a mess, y'all. It was a whole mess. And then she was like, are you sure that you want to leave? Like, are you sure? And I was like, yes, just take me to your house, and then I'll figure out, you know, how I can leave from there and, you know, go to my mom's or something. So she left, and as she was like leaving, he's like, don't go, and like looking. So she's like, y'all gonna make me cry, and I'm like, I don't care, like, go. So then she leaves and we go to her house. So long story short, Uriah ended up going, he waited for her husband to get off work, because Uriah used to get off like really early. Y'all know that if y'all watch the vlogs, because he was a chaplain assistant. So he would get off, and he really didn't have anyone over him besides a chaplain, and when they got done their work, he would just be done, and that was it. And then when he was a sergeant, he had soldiers underneath him, but he still would get off early. Like, he never worked like how some military men be like there till 9. Like, he was usually home by like 3. So he waited for her husband to get off work, came over there, and had basically like the sit down conversation with her husband. He's like, why would you tell your wife that? Basically saying that he lied and tried to like spruce up the truth, because there really was some truth to it, but the truth of the matter was that he was doing it, and he tried to put it on Uriah and say that Uriah was doing it. It was a mess, y'all. It was a whole entire mess. So Uriah's in there basically like mad at this point, toe to toe with him, and they going back and forth in the room, and Uriah's like, you need to come clean, you need to tell the truth, or you need to figure out how you can fix this, because I'm not losing my wife over this. And he was like, I'm not gonna tell what was going on with you, but I'm not losing my wife over this. And the reason why we knew what they were saying was because we were by the door and we were listening. So long story short, the tea was that Uriah was covering for her husband. He didn't do what he said he did with the bartender. Now with the girls in the car, he sat me down and explained the situation, and he was like, they basically was at a restaurant after the club ended. They went to a Waffle House, and he was like, there was girls, and they were talking to the girls, like roommate's husband and some other guys were talking to the girls, and he was in his car, but the girls wanted to talk to Uriah, but Uriah was in the car trying to avoid the whole situation. And then once the girls were like, you know, tipsy, you know, whatever, trying to hang into his door, one girl was hanging into his door, like when his door was cracked, his window was cracked, trying to hang into the window. Another girl went and opened the door on the passenger side and got in the car, and the guys supposedly had got mad because they were trying to talk to the girls, and the girls was trying to talk to Uriah. So that was the whole story, the whole shebang, y'all. I cross-examined everybody, like literally everybody. Talked to her husband, talked to her, talked to him. I was ready to go talk to the bartender. I went to the club to go talk to the bartender, could not find the bartender. Apparently the bartender had ended up getting fired because she was letting in people for free or some shit, and she ended up getting fired, and she was irrelevant and gone at that point. But y'all, like, I put my whole Inspector Gadgets, y'all already know how I am. Y'all know I put my Inspector Gadgets, my goggles on, put that detective hat on, get that badge together, and I be out. You said you did what with my husband? Girl, I need receipts. So yeah, I don't ever just take word from one person, especially, you know, me and honey. Like, for me, if I want to know the whole truth, you got to listen to everybody. You can't just go off of what one person says and be like, oh, okay, that's what it is. You have to listen to everybody. And at that point in my life, I think I was 20, so I learned that not to go off of emotion and flip out and cause a whole scene. Truth will come out in time. So that's my story on how I called Uriah cheating and what she did and how she turned all the way up. But I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thumbs this video up if you guys want more story times, because Lord knows I have way too many story times. Like, now that I think about it, they don't ever talk about. So if y'all really want to hear some tea about our relationship and some stuff that we done went through, thumbs this video up. Comment below if this situation ever happened to you, and if you guys want to hear more about roommate, because ooh, y'all, I can tell y'all more about roommate. Love y'all, and treat every day like it's your last night, honey. Stay cute, stay beautiful, okay? And I'll talk to y'all in the comment section below.